Alright, hello everybody. Today, I will now be going over Hemlock for both chill and amped, new game plus pre-patch / pre-June. In the last video I covered Prophet, and now we will move on to Hemlock. So, just like Prophet, I will be skipping most of the level that just kind of scrolls through the song and getting to the actual boss fight where we do our routes and strategies. So let's begin. Like I said, and before this boss starts, unlike Prophet and Aurora, Hemlock has text at the start that you must click through very fast. Another boss I will talk about later on, Dex, also has this at the start. For the way I do it, since I play on controller for my runs, I really fastly click the start button with the mouse, start the timer, and just rapidly mash enter just to get past the text. And then we can now begin the fight. So, unlike Prophet, there's no big boss to talk about like in the last video, but that doesn't really matter. We kind of just play throughout the level just like how you would normally, and only really it matters once we get to the actual boss, the cutscene. Yeah. So this is where the fight actually begins. At 3:12 is when you'd usually get to Hemlock, given you did the text at the start really fast. So let's start this fight off, shall we? So at the start, before even being able to do anything, since you can't act at the start here, you can't charge up a buy or anything, all your abilities are taken away. Charlie does do a little kick animation. It does 2 hits and can give back some energy and a bit of token. It does barely any damage to Hemlock, but it's worth knowing that if you are low on energy, you can use that, but it's not really that big to know. Now, the moment we can act is as soon as Charlie here pulls up his pants, kind of. So, as soon as he does that, then we can start going for our usual buy attack that we always use. So, you kind of just want to spam buy for most of this fight. It's basically just this over and over. So, this one won't be a very long one, except talking about the strats that don't involve spamming buy over and over again. One thing to know when using buy on Hemlock is dodging his attacks. If he is about to hit you and your buy ends, it will knock you back, which is very bad. So sometimes you are forced to dodge, which isn't great, because the optimal way is you want to be able to punch and buy, or punch into a buy on Hemlock. So it'd be something like this. That would be the fastest way to get them out. And here I can't do a punch buy, so I have to go for that. Now after this, you want to go for a counter cancel into a buy, or no, counter cancel into the takedown, get an easy takedown. Most of the time it is this animation for the takedown. Sometimes, very rarely, it can be a different one, but it's mostly that one. After this takedown though, you want to go for a punch into a buy. Be careful about the timing of this though, because if you do maybe 2 punches or wait a little bit too late on it, the beat timer or just the beat timer in general, not just the little bar, will randomly cut off what would be a perfect buy to match the song. Since you're going so fast, it has to jump ahead in the song itself. And this can mess up a perfect buy by just straight up taking away the, which would be taking away the rings here each time these two connect. That's when a perfect hit would be. So basically, it's taking away that if you do it too slow. But if you do it right, you go for a buy into a thunderstruck. Afterwards, you want to go for another buy and punch, or I guess an attack here. It looks like he's kicking, but we just call it a punch into a takedown. No, token. Yes. And when we did this takedown so fast, unlike other bosses where we would keep him in break to do more damage, we want to do this early. This makes it so his transition here, which takes usually a while, and times up with the song, usually to end around the drop where it goes, in the song Maniac. We actually speed this up so it actually goes really fast. This can be bad for one reason, whereas we're not really getting as much damage as if he was standing there. But it's not really that big, as since if we damage him during this kind of transition here, he's not taking any armor damage. He's taking real damage, but not armor damage. The armor damage is more important because it decides him going into break and him going into the phases faster. So it's actually not really that bad to have happen. So once we do this though, get the takedown sped up, we then want to go for even more buys. So basically, now that is a new attack he can do, where he does the kind of the swing attack in the first phase, but instead of another swing attack, it's a spin attack. And he loves these spin attacks. There's another attack sort of like this. These attacks can be very annoying because the lock-on really doesn't know how to track him. So in this case, I was able to do a punch buy and then wait a little bit so he ends up here and doesn't mess up the buy lock-on. So we do slam down here. This jump back can mean one of two things. Either a spin move, just like we saw, which we would have to wait to, or a sound wave attack that we can easily just go through with a buy. And this is mainly the one you want to get, as it helps save the most amount of time. And again, just 4 buys, just like in phase 1. For when he's in break here, we want to go for a punch, buy, punch, buy, and that's about it. Now, doing all of this allows us to hit a very important skip that was discovered by me, actually, which I've dubbed it the Rise skip. So, basically, I'll let this play out and then explain what essentially it is. Alright. So, what the Rise skip is we are skipping the animation of him rising up. I mean, he still rises up, but essentially what it's doing is him rising up here, he waits way longer than what it would be normally. So what we did was we went really fast for phase 2. Or essentially down here, this little timer, it's hard to see right now, but it should be saying 4:43, which is where you basically want to end the fight. Or have him jump back into the background, as this will give an opportunity to get this skip into action. If not, it will go into the usual rise where this takes way longer, around 10 seconds more, till he crashes down with the punch. So, very important skip to know, and helps save a lot of time. So, if you do get the skip set up, before he even slams down, you do want to charge up a buy, of course. Have the armor tank the slam, and then hit a buy. You don't want to immediately buy the moment he slams, because it can end up making you go behind him, which is very bad. So you want to wait a little bit for the buy. What we do here now is buy, punch, buy, and that's the end. Now, if he has way less health and you kill him with, let's say, just one buy, even though he's dead, this animation of him getting up technically doesn't have this little break thing that we need to end the fight. He needs to go through this animation and then be hit after this animation ends to register that he's actually dead, even though he technically is in break and dead. The game doesn't realize it yet because he's in that animation. So it would need to do an extra hit. So it is very important to know. It looks like this is slow, but it is timed up to where the buy will do the extra hit for us, or essentially kill him on time, so we don't need to do an extra hit and waste time. So we can actually do the boss finisher fast. And after that, that's the fight. Not very hard one, I'll say. Very simple. Probably the simplest out of all the bosses. Even given stuff like rise skip and the phase 1 to phase 2 transition. But still, very important fight to know. Now moving on to Amped. And there's not many differences that I can say. Besides, again, Amped having a harder time with energy and tokens. So let's just skip on to the fight. Here we go. We do basically the same thing again, just like in just like in Chill. Yep. And just like that, another fast phase 1. What we want to do here is, since we don't have enough energy, we kind of want to do 2 punches. It is risky because, like I talked about on Chill, the beat indicator removing basically what would be a perfect buy. But you can still get it. It is just very tight. Instead of a Thunderstruck, since we wouldn't have energy after, because Thunderstruck does cost 2 bars like buy, we just have to go for another buy. So it does technically mean later down the line less damage overall, but it is something that we have to do. After the buy, go for punch to token, just like in Chill. Just like that, repeat the same sequence that you did with Chill. I should mention the guards too. They are important to know, as sometimes they can attack and mess up the buy timings, or just offset your punches, as in punch buy to armor here, as if since we do a buy at the very end, or we do a buy on him, we want to go for a punch into a buy. They can attack as one of your buys ends and make the punch that you're doing, basically you get hit and removes that, and it kind of ruins the sequence basically. So say an enemy hit me here as I punched, it would basically mean I get hit and wouldn't be able to do a buy in time. But thankfully that doesn't happen, and Hemlock does have attacks that do hit them, like the Soundwave attack can stun them for a bit. His normal swings can kind of stun them for a bit, but it's mostly just RNG if, you know, they're nice to you. Kind of like with Chill, we also just do 2 buys. Now, you notice he does have more HP because we didn't do a Thunderstruck, which is the whole bad part of this. We don't really have enough energy to do all of that. So we're kind of just have to go into phase 3 with more HP. Now, eventually Rise Skip still works. And just like in Show, we would do buy, punch buy. But now we have to do an extra buy. And that was the spin attack I was talking about when he dashes back. You can hit him before he actually starts spinning, and it can sometimes fully hit him, but it's very inconsistent. Here, I kind of just went for it, and thankfully his HP was low enough that not every hit, it only hit 2 times, but thankfully it did a lot of damage anyways to kill him. So, but sometimes he can do the Soundwave attack or anything else, but it's usually a dash back into either Soundwave or the spin attack. And once you hit that, the fight's already over. Again, another short one, not as short as Prophet, but still a very simple fight. With that is Hemlock for a Chill Amped New Game Plus pre-patch pre-June. And alright.